It's a pleasant evening. Scottsdale, Arizona, historic Scottsdale Stadium. Spring training home of the San Francisco Giants as they take on your world champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Hi again, everybody. Along with Ned Colletti, I'm Tim Never. Kirsten Watson will join us in just a moment. And tonight, the Dodgers and Giants meet for the first time in 2 spring training meetings. They'll play at Camelback Ranch later on during the month. Walker Buehler makes his spring debut. Boy, he's turned into big game butane in October without question. And he gets to get up there on the bump tonight.
He's got great stuff. This kid really knows how to compete, too. When you think about some of the big games that he has pitched in already in a remarkably young career, young big league career, many, many big games you see right there on the screen. A lot of big moments for him. Always game for the situation. 0 earned runs, 1 earned run, 1 earned run, 0 earned runs. Somebody that can battle. Not out there tonight to do that. Really out there to build some arm strength and to really get his pitches as fine-tuned as he can. First time out, you just want to build some strength and get a feel for your breaking ball.
And after Bauer's debut yesterday, Dodger pitchers have allowed just 1 earned run. 4 hits only. A.J. Pollock and the crew getting ready to get things started in Scottsdale. Dodgers, Giants, next. It's the first of 3 straight night games the Dodgers will have right here on Sportsnet LA. We count you down to the first pitch. Walker Buehler to start. With more on tonight's pitching plan, here's Kirsten.
Thanks, Tim. Well, as you mentioned, Walker Buehler will get the start tonight. He'll take the first 2 innings. And I spoke with Dave ahead of the game, and he said that Dustin May will come in with the second 2, taking in the 3rd and the 4th inning. Now, when I talked to Dave Roberts just about the plan for building up Walker Buehler this spring training, he really said that, Walker's taken it into his own hands. He feels really good about where he's at. He really knows his body very well, and he is excited to see where he continues to go this spring training and as he prepares himself for opening day.
Good to see him going on the 2nd of March. Last year, the Dodgers slow played him at the beginning, and it was obviously a much shorter season, and he was prepared come October, and that's certainly one thing the Dodgers hope he is again this year. But the longer regular season, we'll get to see Dustin May for 2 innings, Ned. That's always good. We don't know if Dustin will be a starter or a long reliever, but boy, did he contribute.
Yep, we'll have a chance to see 2 of the better pitchers in the organization and 2 strong right-handers. Walker's had a couple tough Aprils here and there. Spring training is 6 weeks long typically for a reason. It's really to build up your pitchers. As you say, Tim, he was a little bit slow played. To kind of keep his endurance up for the length of the season plus the month of October. And so the starts haven't been terrific. So this year you're starting this early, March 2nd. There's a chance to have when the season begins, he'll be pretty good.
See those 2 NL West managers exchanging lineup cards. Dave Roberts, Gabe Kapler. Alfonso Marquez in the middle there. He's the crew chief for this umpiring crew tonight. The way it finished up last year, 43-17 for the Dodgers. 6 games ahead of the Padres. Giants right in the middle of the pack. They were still 2 games under 500, but finished in 3rd place in the division.
People think the Giants are going to be better this year. They're close to 500 in a big-time rebuild right now, but starting to make some progress. And now you won't see it tonight, but a couple former Dodgers in there. That'll also probably help them as the season goes on.
So getting ready to start this one in Scottsdale. Just getting underway a couple of minutes late tonight. Under the lights. This is a ballpark, Ned, that has seen the shadow of many a ball player over the years.
Many great players have played in this stadium, and they rebuilt it maybe 20 years ago and then added to it about 5 or 6 years back with a nice pavilion in right field. But you're right, Tim. A lot of great players have played in this ballpark. I think years and years ago, the Boston Red Sox even trained here, way before spring training was what it is today.
Now, Rick Monday, who'll join us later in the week, tells stories about how when he was roaming center field in this ball yard a long time ago. It's been here a while. It's the oldest one used by anybody in spring training in Arizona. Mookie Betts will lead things off tonight. His 2nd spring training appearance. A few at-bats tonight for Mookie. Corey Seager, World Series MVP. Then A.J. Pollock. Austin Barnes will bat cleanup. Edwin Rios at 3rd base tonight. And then Matt Davidson at 1st base. An interesting player. We'll talk about his pitching as well during the course of the ball game. Sheldon Neuse will be the designated hitter. Andy Burns is at 2nd base. He played yesterday And James Outman will get the start in center field for the Dodgers tonight. And on the hill for San Francisco, Logan Webb, a guy the Giants are counting on for a big year. Last year, 11 starts. He went 3-4. His ERA much higher than he wanted it to be, 5.47. Allowed just 4 home runs, though, and he struck out 46 over 54 in a third innings worked. He's out of the Sacramento area. At one time, he felt that he was probably going to have a future in football. He was a star quarterback in high school out of Rockland. But it was pitching. That was his calling card, and went through the minor leagues pretty quickly. And here he is, a big part of this Giant rotation.
No doubt he's going to try and work on his command this year. When you walk 24 big league hitters in 54 innings, you're asking for trouble. So I would think that that's probably something that he spent the winter thinking about. And as he gets ready for his first spring training appearance, something he's going to have to fine-tune to be successful at this level.
So third spring training game. Mookie Betts comes up to the plate. Dodgers 2-0. They beat the Rockies 10-0 yesterday. Giants tied the Texas Rangers yesterday 1-1, so they have yet to get their first victory. Mookie with some acknowledgments. Boy, isn't it going to be nice to see Mookie in a full season at Dodger Stadium, and 162 games on the docket for this guy. He is certainly a special player to watch.
A tremendous player.
First pitch of the ball game. And there for strike one. Called by home plate umpire Chad Whitson.
When you watch players from the other league, from the American League, you have a feel for them, and you know who's good and who isn't and who's a superstar. But you watch this kid play every day, you have a tremendous appreciation for really the upper level of the sport. He brings it every day.
I know it's been mentioned earlier, it was written about earlier in the week, but he was asked to assess his performance from last year. He said it was serviceable. Serviceable. Okay,
well,
then what's good?
He's obviously got a lot of expectation for himself because it was far more than serviceable. But you know what? There's a hunger to it. And the great ones, they have that extra gear not only in how they play and how they think, but what they expect.
Fouls this one off, still 1-2. And prior to the game today, during early work, Mookie Betts was taking ground balls. He'll do that very often. He'll take ground balls at shortstop. He'll take ground balls at third. He'll take ground balls at second. Stays engaged in the game that way. It's just a different muscle memory that he uses aside from playing right field. But Mookie's an athlete, and he can play other positions. In fact, he did start a game last year at second base.
As I think back to last year at all the remarkable things that Dodger fans and we had a chance to see, his defense was a highlight. How about the postseason defense? He turned the Atlanta series, the LCS, around just by playing in the way he played in right field.
And the way that he can handle a wall.
Yes.
It's not an easy craft for any outfielder, especially when you're on the road. But he has it figured out. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. Top of the first, just underway in Scottsdale. The pitch. And this one's up in the air, foul down the right side.
What he also does to a very high degree, he pays attention. He pays attention to detail. Nothing gets past him. He understands every nuance. Some people say, well, we're going to work on the little things. There are no little things in the game, and he knows it. And so there's not one thing he takes off. Everything he takes to a fine-tuned area.
8th pitch of the at-bat right here, and he pops it up. Chadwick Tromp, the catcher, battling the night sky, and he wins that battle, makes the catch. Mookie's retired, 1 gone in the first. And his second in MVP voting to Freddie Freeman of Atlanta. Yeah, that's a serviceable year.
Yeah, I would think so. Right?
So 1 down. Another guy who is serviceable or better, Corey Seager. We'll find out what he did with that vehicle he took home from the World Series. There's a strike call to Corey.
Since the day we drafted Corey Seager, he's had a great presence to him. Well beyond his years, he understands a lot about a lot of things and could figure it out and slow it down and put it into practice.
1 ball and 1 strike to Seager.
I had a conversation with him years ago. He was selected for the Futures game, the game before the All-Star game, where every team sends 1 or 2 players to it. And he was selected from the Dodgers. And
same pitch as the last one.
I told him, I said, look, you got to understand, you got a chance not to just be a big league player, but to be a great big league player. But it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice. And I don't even know if you know yet all that it's going to take. But you got a shot to do it. So about 4 years go by, and I'm walking out to the TV set, and I see him with Mike Fiore, one of his agents. And we start talking, and I start walking away, and he says, hey, Ned, you remember what you told me 3-4 years ago? I said, I'll never forget it. He goes, neither do I. So he plays with that. As a 19-year-old kid, had the presence of mind to take some information with him and continues to put it to good use.
Swings and misses at the 2-2, and 2 men out. A.J. Pollock. Think about A.J. last year. He did contract COVID-19, and right around the time his daughter was born, and he was considering opting out. His wife said, nope, you're an athlete, you're a competitor. There's no way you're going to be on this couch watching this team win the World Series. You're going to go be a part of it. And it turned out she was exactly right.
He was a big part of it last year. First year, a little bit of an adjustment year for him 2 seasons ago, but last year you saw why the Dodgers went after him.
Well, this one's hit well, but going back after it is Mauricio Dubon. He tracks it down for the 3rd out. 3 up, 3 down for the Dodgers in the top of the 1st inning. Walker Buehler will make his spring debut. We return to Scottsdale. We go to the Giant half of the 1st inning. No score. Lamont Wade Jr. will lead off for San Francisco. Alex Dickerson to follow. Jason Bosler, Wilmer Flores at first base. And Ralph Dubon, Trump, Alcantara, and Luciano round out the San Francisco 9. Here is the pride of Henry Clay High School in Lexington, Kentucky, Walker Buehler. Last year, 8 starts, 1-0. The opponent average, really the impressive number there, 178 against. His first pitch of 2021 is inside ball 1.
He is not an easy at bat.
Early in the season, he had to zero in the target a little bit. As this one is lifted to right field, and waiting for it, Mookie Betts. 1 down.
You know, we talked about Betts earlier and the extra gear that he has in his thought process and his play. Walker Buehler is a lot the same way. When it comes to a competitive moment, he wants it. He wants it more than probably a lot of people that are in the big leagues. I think he's kind of made for that. There's some players that are made for April to September, and there's others that are made for October. He's one of those people made for October too.
Outside to Alex Dickerson. 1-0 to the Giant left fielder. And Buehler's 1-0. That's inside 2-0. Look at his first 4 starts from 2020. He walked 9 men in 19 innings. You're looking at 4 1/4 walks per 9, which was highly unusual for Walker Buehler. But then his next 4 starts, he cut that down to just a little over 1 walk per 9, where he walked 2 in his next 17 2/3 innings.
Well, that's why spring training is what it is. It's really to get your pitchers built up. He had a shortened spring last year, so as you get into those first starts of a regular season, he was still kind of finishing off spring training a little bit with different pressures on him than he had otherwise.
There's Outman with a sliding catch on a tailing line drive. 2 down. Catch by James Outman.
But you look at this rotation. We saw Trevor Bauer yesterday. We got Clayton, of course, Hall of Famer. David Price, another former Cy Young Award winner. Walker Buehler. As teams look at who are the probable pitchers coming up in a series, typically you can find 1 or 2 that you say, hey, we ought to have a shot against this guy. I don't know who you say that about with the Dodgers. I don't think you can say it about anybody. And whoever the 5th starter is, same thing.
That's right. 1-0 pitch to Vossler, the third baseman, fouled off. 1-1. I think we touched on it yesterday afternoon too. There's so many teams who don't know who their fifth starter is. Mark Pryor has a pretty good idea with the Dodgers who maybe the sixth and seventh and eighth starter could be. I mean, they have put themselves in a great position because you know, things happen during the season, as you well know.
Oh yeah.
You don't know how you're going to have to go through the middle portion of the season or even late portion of the season. You're going to need arms.
No manager or general manager or president of baseball ops ever said, "Oh, we have too much pitching."
This one down the left side. That's in for a hit. That's going to go to the wall. A.J. Pollock will track it down as Vossler rumbles into second, and he'll stop there with 2 down. So it'll be a double for Vossler. And the Giants with a little something going late in the first.
Good piece of hitting there by the kid. Got a pitch that is on the outer half of the plate. He goes that way. He doesn't try to do too much with it. He knows he's facing somebody with some velocity, so it's going to be difficult to pull a ball like that. Outer half, up in the zone. Just take it where you got a shift going on. Just take it the other way.
Well, Vossler in scoring position. 2 down for Wilmer Flores, former New York Met, Arizona Diamondback, last year's first year with the Giants. Flores had primarily been either a middle or left side infielder, but now getting some time at first base.
Well, versatility, as we talk about all the time with the Dodgers, whether it's in your lineup or on how you play your defense. It's great to have.
Buehler gets a chance to work out of the stretch here in the first inning. Delivers high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Certainly something to consider from the pitching standpoint, is you want to be able to work in all situations at some point in time during spring training, simply because you're going to be in those situations during the regular season. In the air, shallow center, and Outman comes in and makes the foot first grab.
Nice jump.
All right, 2 nice plays by Outman. No score after 1. Champion Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by the SoCal BMW Centers. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Oh, other scenes, Max Muncy, Cody Bellinger from the World Series. We'll see a lot of those images and reminders and memories of the great 2020 season throughout the course of not only spring training but the regular season. Dave Roberts, a wonderful job managing everybody, the pitching staff, you name it. And even though this team has won 3 of the last 4 National League pennants, finally brought it home. A lot of help from this guy too, Austin Barnes, who was good in the postseason. And facing a new pitcher, this is Matt Whistler. So Logan Webb just went the 1 inning. Had a 1-2-3 inning with 1 strikeout, so he is done. And Matt Whistler comes on to face Barnes.
Austin Barnes had a terrific postseason. Offense, but really defense, really calling games and getting pitchers through tough innings. Every pitch in the postseason is magnified. Scouting reports, everything is just really fine-tuned. He did great. In the last pitch of the World Series, he put the ball in his pocket.
Well, how many guys get an opportunity to do that?
Exactly.
Not many. So
Rick Dempsey was the last one from the Dodger uniform.
1988. And there's a walk. So Whistler issues the free pass, and the Dodgers have their first base runner tonight.
I give Barnes a lot of credit. A few years ago, they sent him back to the minor leagues after having some major league time. A lot of guys could have sulked. A lot of guys could have been agitated by that. If he was probably more agitated at himself and really became better at everything that he needed to do. Always a pretty good catch and throw guy, but turn that up a notch and also turn the offense up. Talk about turning the offense up. This kid can flat out hit here.
Led Major League Baseball last year in terms of home runs per at bats. Fewer than 10 at bats, he'd hit a home run. I think it was 9.5. Every 9.5 at bats, he's hitting one out of the yard.
And when he hits him out of the yard, you're talking about out of the yard. No cheap home runs here for Mr. Rios.
No. One on and nobody out of the pitch high, and it's 1-1. Remember the one he hit in Arizona?
Oh, goodness.
It hit the steel beam that holds the huge scoreboard in center field. It hit the beam, and then I think that's where StatCast stopped. And he got cheated on. I think it was,
Oh, yeah. They said it was like 424 feet.
Yeah.
Maybe. There's probably another 100 feet had it landed.
yeah. You know, you'd figure he would have a shot to hit the longest home run by a Dodger last year, but he did not even in the top two. Gavin Lux hit one in Colorado that was, I think I'm going to say 453 off the top of my head. And then Corey Seager had the next one. It was in the 440s. And then I think Rio's numbers started to show up.
Good take right there. 1-2 pitch. Whistler trying to get you to chase a little bit. Held off. That's what you look for in your younger players in the spring. Really their identification of a strike zone, their ability to slow it down, whether it's now or whether it's in the regular season.
2-2. Fought off. I think you got to be happy for the Miami native and what he did last year and how he contributed. And it's a pretty loaded roster for the Dodgers too. And, you know, he'll contribute some way, shape, or form. Just a matter of where and when. – 3-2.
Good take there too. Not easy to stay off that pitch.
See Chadwick Tromp, we noticed in the
Trying to
last
cheat there a little bit.
Yeah, last couple of years we see more catchers catching the ball up like that. Seventh pitch of the at bat, and he's walked it. So 2 straight walks for Matt Whistler.
Excellent at bat right there.
And the Dodgers have set up shop, first and second, and nobody out.
As you look at how the Dodgers approach their at bats for quite a while now, whether it's the regular season or in the month of March, it's with great patience. They make pitchers throw strikes, and there's probably less what you would consider high quality big league pitching than there's ever been. So they take advantage of it. They take advantage of it and they make guys throw strikes. We say it all the time. The games are too long for the opposition because you got to be able to throw effective strikes. A lot of guys can't do it. Dodgers make them pay.
Dodgers had a good day yesterday with runners in scoring position. They were 6 out of 13. 2 Dodgers out there for Matt Davidson, former White Sox slugger. Also spent some time last year with the Reds. And he threw a bullpen the other day. He has pitched for both the Reds and the White Sox in his career. And Dave Roberts wanted to give him a look in the bullpen. Just see what he's got. In fact, last year he pitched for the Reds 3 times. 3 1/3 innings. Back in 2018 he had 3 appearances for the White Sox. Takes a breaking ball there for a strike. But you think about two-way players. I don't know if you go that far just because he's pitched 6 times, but it wasn't really in situations for the most part where you had a position player coming out to pitch. Especially when he began with the White Sox, they actually thought he could be a two-way player. 1-2 is banged to right field. And on a line, it is hauled in by Lamont Wade.
Good contact right there.
Well, he hit it on the screws, but right at Lamont Wade Jr.
It might be smaller, but
They said right there, it looks like Wade may have, maybe just for a split second there, perhaps lost it in the light and rallied to make the play.
Well, Sheldon Noisy came over from the Oakland A's. He is the DH tonight. So he's getting some opportunities to get some swings in. And he'll get some solid looks here during spring training.
No doubt. Heard a lot of good things about this young man. Big time power. Some of it will depend too if the National League ends up with the DH or not. I know right now it's not happening, but you never know. You got negotiations can go on all the way really to close to the outset of the season.
Got a few weeks left, right?
Yep.
I mean, I remember
Got almost a month left.
a few years ago. I mean, they changed the replay rules right about a week before the season, I want to say.
Yep.
So things like that have happened in the past, but would that be a fair situation to National League clubs who for months were wondering whether or not they needed to adjust their rosters? I think some teams may have some guys in camp that could help in that regard, just in case.
Well, there's a possibility too that they told teams, look, we don't have it right now, but don't plan as if we're for sure not going to have it, because you never know. And everything is a negotiated point. So if they're talking, it's between Major League Baseball and the Players Association. And you never know what they may come up with. I think it actually benefits players to have a DH. I'm not sure how many pitchers want to hit it. We know Trevor Bauer doesn't want anything to do with it. But I think that it allows it, especially a team like the Dodgers, it opened up another 4 at-bats for a really good hitter to come and play and gave Dave Roberts more options than he would have had otherwise.
Andy Burns, formerly with the Blue Jays, he'd spent some time in the KBO, the Lotte Giants in Korea. Had a 2-run double yesterday against Colorado. Burns playing some second base tonight. 2-0 count on him.
Again, versatility. Played all over the field. He's played all over the globe. Australia too, Venezuela.
That's the life of a pro.
Yep.
Go where the games are.
Love for the game.
This one's bounced foul, third base side. 2-1 to Burns. How many countries have you gone to see baseball in?
Goodness. Venezuela many times, Dominican Republic many times, Mexico many times, Japan, Korea, Australia, Taiwan, Canada.
You might have hit them all. All the baseball playing countries anyway. Although they do play more in Europe these days. Italy, Italy and the Netherlands. There are other places where the game continues to grow.
It's great to see it. When I came to the Dodgers, I told ownership during the interview process, they said, what would you do that would be Dodger-like, that would be different than what anybody else has ever done? I said, we'd be one of the first teams to play in China. And we did. We played San Diego, a 2-game series there. Spent about 4 or 5 days in Beijing. And started to grow the game there. And talking to Jim Small, who's a dear friend who helps out in Major League Baseball International the other day. And the game is growing all over the globe, including China. Perhaps the Dodgers had something to do with it.
2-2 pitch. And got him swinging. So 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 men left. Inning and a half done in Scottsdale. No score. Dodgers and Giants.
Welcome back to Scottsdale. Have you stocked up on your new World Series champions gear yet? The Top of the Park store is now open Tuesday through Saturday at Dodger Stadium. See Instagram at Dodgers Top of the Park for store hours and details on how to purchase for home delivery.
Thank you, Kirsten. Darren Ruff facing Walker Buehler to start the bottom of the second inning, still scoreless. This will be the final inning of work for Buehler, as Kirsten reported prior to the game. And Ruff hits this one in the air to right. Chasing near the line is Mookie, and he just can't get it.
Smart play there by Mookie. Don't need to be making any big-time catches in spring training and end up hitting into that wall there. Kind of knows where it is, but also not quite sure. Caution pays right there.
Yeah, regular season, he's going into the wall.
Yes.
With everybody holding their breath at the same time. Not too many guys play harder than Mookie Betts. 0-2 pitch to Ruff. 1-2. Up at 273 last year.
Former Philly.
And Buehler's 1-2. Shot foul, first base side.
Tough time getting around on that one.
We mentioned that Andy Burns was in the KBO, but so was Darren Ruff. He spent 3 seasons with the Samsung team over there before coming back and playing for the Giants last year, appearing in 40 of the 60 games. He had some good years in Korea, 2017, 2018, 2019, after he left the Phillies. One-two, big curveball. Ruff looking back, wondering where that came from. 1 out.
That was a tremendous pitch, especially for this time of year, but any time of year that works. Really tough. Sets him up with a fastball. They had a tough time getting around on, hit it down the right field line, foul, then comes up with something soft with the big loop to it. You got to be an excellent hitter to be able to handle that.
Mauricio Dubon had a good year last year. He came up as an infielder and found a home in center field last year for the Giants. 0-1 pitch. Pretty good looking pitch there.
Tried it again.
Somebody grunted at the plate. I was wondering if that was Barnes, thinking it was a strike. And the 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. And a Mauricio Dubon.
As Walker gets a little bit more command, that pitch there's got that low life strike to it.
Well, Mookie Betts getting a little work in. 2 men down. So far so good for Walker Buehler. He gave up the double to Jason Vosler with 2 outs in the first. Well, he's had 4 fly ball outs and 1 strikeout.
Efficient. You got 5 outs. You got 22 pitches. You take that.
And he'll face Chadwick Tromp. Tromp caught a bunch for him last year. Appeared in just 24 games. And he'd been with the Reds for a while in AAA. And you talk about the international player. He would be eligible to play in the next World Baseball Classic for the Kingdom of the Netherlands because he's from Aruba. And bouncer to the third base side and backhanding it is Seager. And throw him out. Well, 3 up and 3 down for the Giants in the second. And a pretty successful spring debut for Walker Buehler.
May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Dodgers.
World Champion Dodgers Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Carl's Jr. Feed your happy at Carl's Jr. with the big Carl or the really big Carl. Pretty happy Mookie Betts. He had lots of smiles in October of last year. And he hopes to have many more throughout the course of this season and into October again. We'll get to see him hit again. He'll bat second this inning. First, we'll get to see James Outman pitch against a new pitcher, sidewinding Tyler Rogers. His twin brother Taylor pitches for the Twins, ironically enough. He's out of the University of Kentucky. 29 appearances last year, went 3-3. And Outman doesn't waste much time, puts it right toward the middle, but there is Marco Luciano to throw him out.
That exaggerated delivery drops down. As a hitter, you just have to look for where the ball comes out of the hand. Delivery's there for deceptive purposes, but again, the ball, wherever the ball, you pick the ball up first, that's the key.
So here's Mookie 0 for 1. Mookie looking out at Rogers. He'll see this pitch drop in for a strike. You see that angled bat handle. We talked about it during the regular season, certainly, but he uses the axe handle bat. And he's used it since he was in Boston. He actually saw Dustin Pedroia use it. Dustin, who just recently retired. But Pedroia had a hamate bone injury. And he came back and used that axe handle bat because it takes pressure off the hamate bone. And Mookie saw that. He put the bat in his hands. He said, I kind of like how this feels. And he's been using it ever since.
Hitters pay attention to other hitters. And not just how they approach it, but really sometimes the bat, you see it all the time where somebody will go and experiment with somebody else's bat there and may fall in love with it and may get great production out of it.
Mookie trying to go the other way. It's foul. Still 1-2 on Mookie Betts.
And Mr. Pedroia, he could play too. Good friends with former Dodger, longtime Dodger Andre Ethier.
They were teammates at Arizona State.
Yeah. I miss Dre.
I think he's got the World Series trophy today, doesn't he? Isn't today the day he got to bring it into where, in Scottsdale today? I think.
Yeah.
I think they entrusted the trophy to him for the day today.
That's pretty cool. It's like the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. 2-2. This one is yanked down the left field side. That's going to drop in fair. And Mookie will have extra bases. And stop at 2.
How much strength do you have to be able to do that?
I mean, think about where he hit this pitch, how far outside it was, and he pulled it.
And stayed balanced at the same time. This is running away from him. Way outer half. And just stays at the last second, stays back just long enough to make some solid contact with it and basically pull it down the left field line. You don't see very many players able to do that.
Corey Seager to face Rogers. Rogers against the Dodgers last year appeared 6 times, and the Dodgers got the better of him. He gave up 6 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings against LA, and that'll get you 953 earned run average. Also, he was 0-2 as far as decisions were concerned. But when Rogers came out for the Giants last year, the Dodgers took care of business.
Well, again, the delivery is deceptive, but the stuff has got to be excellent, no matter what the delivery is. These are big league hitters.
One ball and 1 strike. I had a conversation with Orel in the offseason about Corey Seager, and he said, you know, you win the World Series MVP. It's something that never goes away. It's something that can change your life in the way that people view you and your career.
The Dodgers are a national team, national brand. Yet some players were really, I think, took the national audience and taught him a lot and showed him a lot, including Corey Seager, who I think people knew was a good player. But when you do what he did in the postseason, you win the LCS MVP, you win the World Series MVP, you hit 8 home runs in the toughest time of the year. Very, very unique talent. And I think now everybody knows how special this kid is.
Rogers 3-1 delivery to Seager. That's up high, ball 4, and the Dodgers with 2 on and 1 out.
This is a tough 1-2 for anybody to handle. Mookie and Corey, right-handed hitter, left-handed hitter, both great discipline at the plate, both power. Both will take a pitch, and no matter where it's at. You saw Corey Seager last year take a lot of pitches that were away to left center field. Not a lot of guys do that, try to pull that pitch from a left-handed hitter, end up grounding out to the second baseman. No, he'd rather double to left center, but really tough 1-2 punch right there. Maybe the best in the game.
A.J. Pollock 0 for 1, fly to center in the first. Takes a strike. Well, remember, right at the very beginning of the season, Mookie was not hitting leadoff.
No.
And Dave Roberts and Mookie had a conversation, and they put him in that leadoff spot. And good chance we won't see him come out of there.
Nope.
Bouncer to the left side. There's one. And the double play ends the inning. The runs a hit a man left, a double by Mookie Betts. On to the bottom half of the third inning in Scottsdale, still scoreless. An auspicious debut for Walker Buehler, 2 innings. No runs, 1 strikeout, no walks, 24 pitches. Job well done tonight.
Absolutely. 12 pitches per inning on average. You'll take that anytime, especially spring training where you're trying to get your feet on the ground and get everything put together. Excellent performance by him. They've only allowed not a lot of runs to the 5th inning the other day.
I know. How about
10
that?
innings, spring training.
10 scoreless innings. And only 2 of the regular expected starters have gone. And now it's time for Code Red. Dustin May. Out of Justin, Texas. He can be an intimidating presence on the mound. The other day, he hit 101 on the gun, according to Dave Roberts. And he will face Arismendi Alcantara. 1 pitch. Rios grabs it. 1 out. And a nice quick out for Dustin May. Number 9 hitter Marco Luciano, the shortstop, will now face May. You want to talk about a coming out party. He made his debut in 2019. Did Dustin May. And you just watched him throw and you thought, you know, he's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of good things happening here. Then last year, you could see it in spring training how much of a difference it was from 2019 to 20. You know, now he is full-grown man on the hill.
You look at his stuff and you look at his strikeouts to innings, and you almost think it might be a misprint. 44 strikeouts, 56 innings, because the stuff is so alive. I think the more he develops off-speed pitches and the more he uses them and the more he mixes into his repertoire and his thought process, the more strikeouts he'll get.
6'6", 180 pounds.
Think about being as young as he is and as young as Gonsolin is and even Walker Buehler to an extent, and think how many big moments they've already had in their career. There's some players that go 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, entire careers, and never have not only that opportunity but that experience. So when you get there the next time, you know what it feels like. You know what you have to do. You know how you have to prepare. That's one thing San Diego hasn't done yet. How about that pitch? See? That'll get a lot of guys out right there. Besides 101 miles an hour, you throw that. Look at this. This is very tough. If you're sitting fastball right now, guess what? You have no chance. You just kind of look at it and walk on back. That's a pretty strong prospect right there, too, Luciano.
That's just a filthy pitch by May. Now back to the top of the order, and Lamont Wade Jr. He flied to right first time up in the first inning. I think really the calling card for May is that heavy two-seamer, that 99-mile-an-hour two-seamer he throws. He gets a ton of movement on it. This one fought off to the left side. Nice stab by Rios. A little bit high, but Davidson there to grab it.
Great play right there.
Dustin May with a good inning. 1, 2, 3. Little assist from Edwin Rios. We go to the Dodger half of the fourth. No score. Up for the brand new season at MLBshop.com. Check out the new 2021 gear and shop the largest selection of official caps, t-shirts, hoodies, collectibles, and more. Gear up with the Dodgers at MLBshop.com. Edwin Rios throwing some leather here. Watch this. Coming right at you. Man, that's a good play.
Excellent play. Took a high hop on him. He was down expecting a ball to stay low. Took a high hop, but was able to react quickly and threw the ball almost from the shortstop position. Excellent play.
And he'll bat second this inning against left-hander Sam Selman, who was the fourth pitcher used by Gabe Kapler so far tonight. Top of the fourth inning, Austin Barnes leads off. He walked to lead off the second inning. He's been on base once. Just one plate appearance. So we're in the fourth inning of what we expect to be a 7-inning game tonight. A strike call.
Little low strike right there.
Gabe Kapler entering his second year as skipper of the Giants. He had his managerial debut with the Phillies before heading back to the West Coast. He worked in the Dodgers front office prior to that.
Yep. Had a good career.
Dave knows Gabe very well.
Helped in the player development. A lot of the players you see today in the Dodger uniform.
1-2 to Barnes. Selman's pitch is slapped down the right side, and that will just tail foul.
He also caught the eye of former Dodgers GM Farhan Zaidi, who, when Farhan had the chance to go to San Francisco as the president of baseball operations, looking for a manager to replace future Hall of Famer Bruce Bochy. New cap from their days together in L.A. and made him his choice. Networking, you never know.
Never know. Selman's pitch. This one's hit hard to the right side and through. Well, Barnes, he's headed for second. And he'll throw the car in reverse and smartly get back to first.
Hey, not bad to show it, though.
Nope.
Make the defense make a play.
You get worried about this one with the ball in front of you as a base runner. But he got around the bag pretty quickly and realized, okay, coming back now.
He can run a little bit.
New first base coach Clayton McCullough telling him to get back here. Clayton taking over at first. See him there, number 86. George Lombard, now the bench coach with the Tigers. George did such a great job here. So here's Edwin Rios taking outside for a ball.
Former minor league field coordinator, last year oversaw the Dodgers operation at the alternate site over at USC. Been a lot of time in the minor leagues learning, coaching, teaching.
1-1. 1-2, a off-speed pitch. You mentioned the words alternate site. We thought we had seen the last of it. Apparently we have not. News today that has been out there that the AAA season is now going to be pushed back a month into early May. And that for the month of April there will be some alternate sites set up for teams to continue development of players in AAA. And Rios goes down looking, one out.
Well, we're in a time of adjustment, continued adjustment. Continue to be wise. Minor league players need to play this year if at all possible. A lot of teams that were in the rebuilding stage lost a complete year. Not so much for the players that were at alternate sites, but a lot of your young players, a lot of your A-ball players, AA players that are strong prospects, but not quite the upper level prospect, missed the season.
Matt Davidson a little late on that offering.
And when you think about how short the window is, how small the window is to be a big league player, to lose a year, that's a lot to lose.
Sam Selman, another Vanderbilt guy. Plenty of those guys around baseball right now, including Walker Buehler, David Price.
A couple pretty good ones right there.
Yeah. Nothing in two to Davidson. He lined out sharply to right field in the second inning. Barnes off of first base, being held on by Wilmer Flores. again was Davidson. He goes down swinging. 2 men out.
Doesn't get a good read on it. A little late on the trigger.
Barnes with a no-out hit. Mookie Betts with a 1-out hit. Both Dodger hits tonight have come with 2 strikes. So Sheldon Noisy, first ball swinging, bounces it down to third. They'll go the short way. And that's the force out that retires the side. 3.5 done in Scottsdale. Dodgers nothing, Giants nothing. Favorite Dodger Stadium eats are available at home through Dodgers Home Plates. From Dodger dogs to garlic fries to nacho helmets, get a taste of the ballpark experience delivered on demand. Search for Dodgers Home Plates on Postmates and order your stadium favorites for the next game now. Next game's tomorrow night, right around dinner time. So think about that as an option.
The young lefty right there.
Wonder if he can pitch. Dickerson, left fielder, first ball swinging. 1 pitch, 1 away for Dustin May in the bottom of the 4th. So far, they haven't challenged Dustin too much.
Again, you look at the pitch count, 9 pitches. He's gotten 4 outs on 9 pitches. That's it's not mathematically impossible, but it's close.
Vossler is the only Giant hit. It was a double off of Walker Buehler in the first inning. He was stranded. This one is lifted in the left center field, slicing, and that's going to split the outfielders and head to the wall. So Vossler 2 for 2 as Ottman guns it back in and holds him to a double.
A lot of spin on this ball right here as he makes contact. Turns it the other way, gets a little backspin. It takes a little hop at the end. See the little hop here coming up. Boom, right there. And 2 doubles today. 2 doubles for Vossler tonight. Both the other way.
Wilmer Flores. Runner in scoring position and 1 out, and May out of the stretch. Flores hit a sinking liner to center field in the first inning, and James Ottman came in, made a foot-first sliding catch. Went into that figure 4 slide and retired Flores. Spin on that one just outside. So May an even count, 1 ball and 1 strike. If you think of 1 pitch all season that he threw, I mean, he threw some pretty important ones, but there was that 2-seamer against Manny Machado that I don't know how it didn't hit Machado. It must have broken, I don't know. What would you guess? A foot? 15 inches, 17 inches? It was one of the nastiest pitches anybody's ever seen.
Every day one of the reasons I love baseball, because every day I see something you haven't seen before. And I can't tell you I've ever seen a pitch act like that before. Even Manny Machado, great hitter, looked at it like, really? That just happened?
Yeah. He's like, what just happened? Vossler dancing off of second base causes May to step off. Burns holding Vossler at second base. New shortstop in is Omar Estevez. Andy Paget is in left field, and Mookie Betts is out of the game as well. So for Mookie Betts, Ryan Noda has taken over in right. So 2 at-bats for the regulars in this one. One out, 1 on. 3-1 pitch to Flores. He walked him. 2 on for the Giants. So this early in spring training, would you have been, when you were the GM, would you have been in favor of the shorter games early in spring training?
Absolutely. I think, especially early. The last few innings when you're playing 8, 9 innings, a lot of kids get to play. That's a good thing. But it doesn't necessarily do your big league team that much good. I think early in the season, 6 innings, 7 innings is fine. As you get later into camp, absolutely, you got to start playing 9. Guys need to get really their stamina built up as a player to be able to go 9 innings, even as a position player.
Up and in to Darren Ruff.
But you still get an opportunity for young players. Look at the Giants lineup today. A lot of young players. Dodgers lineup, second half of the batting order, a lot of young players. This one just gets away from them. No intent, just a pitch that got away.
2 on, 1 out. 2 balls, no strikes.
Needs to resettle himself here, get his command back. Walks Flores after the double to Vessler, and he's falling behind Ruff.
6 straight balls thrown by Dustin May, searching for a strike here. 6'6" Texan comes home. It's Ruff to pop this one foul. So that gets him off the string of 6 straight balls. Bob Guerin and Dave Roberts consulting.
How about Dave Roberts' record as a major league manager?
Won a lot of games. Here comes the pitch. 2-1. Down the middle. Leaving things up. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Interesting, you got San Diego that had Bruce Bochy as the manager. They let him go to the Giants. Ends up winning 3 World Series in San Francisco. Dave Roberts is a coach in San Diego. They let him go to the Dodgers. He's been to 3 World Series in 4 years and won the last one. Pretty good training ground.
Wave and a miss. So May strikes him out. Yeah, San Diego, you mean?
Yeah. You wonder if they've ever thought about keeping somebody. Good pitch there. See that with the mix of 101 mile an hour fastball, 2 of them, a 2-seamer, a 4-seamer. That is pretty effective. As I said earlier, he'll get a lot of strikeouts on throwing something off speed, especially off the plate like that. Especially setting up a hitter with something fast and hard on the inside part of the plate, then you go away soft. Good recipe.
Dubon started his career with Boston, then was with Milwaukee before coming over to the Giants. Good young player, pretty versatile player. A few games last year gave the Dodgers some headaches. Two on, 2 out, and Dustin May delivering 0-1. Good pitch.
With the velocity that he has, it's tough to be a hitter and look for something like that. You can't look for something like that. You've got to be able to react to it. And you know how much time you've got to react to a pitch? You could take a book in both your hands and hold it straight out from your body and let it fall. From the time it leaves your hands till the time you hear it hit the floor, that's how much time a hitter's got to make up his mind. Not a lot.
0-2. On the ground is short. Estevez goes to Burns at second base. A short way, and side is retired. Nothing across. 1 hit and a couple left. And that's going to be it for Dustin May tonight. Good job. No score still. To receive the latest team news and ticket information straight to your inbox. Register for Dodgers email alerts by visiting Dodgers.com/newsletter today. Ed Coletti and Kirsten Watson, Tim Neverett with you. Scottsdale Stadium. Dustin May, 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs. 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, 24 pitches, 15 of those 24 good for strikes. And Wandy Peralta, the left-hander, former Cincinnati Red, takes over to face Burns. And a strike delivered. So Peralta, 25 games last season with the Giants. Prior to that, he was with the Reds, and late in the 2019 season, early September, he was grabbed off of waivers by the Giants. So the only organization he had known was Cincinnati up until that time. Andy Burns, a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. And hesitation move, and he got him here. 1 gone in the 5th.
Pretty good waiver claim. Got a veteran lefty. Great pitch there. Outside part of the plate. Took away Burns' balance.
And here is James Outman. Made a couple of really nice defensive plays in the 1st inning.
This would be an interesting at bat here. You got a young left-handed hitter, veteran left-handed pitcher.
A bouncer back toward Peralta. He'll let the catcher take it. Trump will throw out Outman. And 2 down quickly. Chadwick Tromp. Here is Ryan Noda. Noda making his first plate appearance for the Dodgers this spring out of the University of Cincinnati. Originally drafted by the Blue Jays 2017. He was a 15th rounder. First baseman, outfielder type. He's a big Joey Votto fan. That's why you'll see him choke up a little bit, but didn't swing the bat that time. Took strike 3, and for Wandy Peralta, a very quick inning as he retires the Dodgers in the blink of an eye in the top of the 5th. The new faces in Major League camp this year: right-hander Nick Robertson out of James Madison University. Relief pitcher there and a relief pitcher here. Go back to the last minor league season in 2019, 16 appearances and a 1.65 ERA. Opponent average 155 against. The Dodgers drafted him. They liked his fastball a lot.
Look at that, 1 walk. No, it's only 16 1/3, but still 1 walk. That's how you get guys out. That's how you pitch in the show.
That's good command. So Robertson will face Chadwick Tromp, Arismendi Alcantara, and Marco Luciano. 7, 8, 9 hitters for the Giants duo. First pitch high and outside. And Robertson big. We just saw Dustin May, who's 6'6", and Robertson's all of that too. 6'6", 265. Born in Roanoke, Virginia.
Interesting delivery.
Ground ball left side. And there's 1 out. Third baseman Devin Mann making the play. Some more changes for the Dodgers defensively. And Hel Ravello is at first base. Devin Mann gets a defensive opportunity right away.
When you're a pitcher and you allowed 1 walk and the opposition had 155 off you, it's telling you 2 things. The man's going to throw strikes, and you're going to have a tough time when he does. It's a conversation I had with a young Clayton Kershaw, who, if you look at his early major league career, his strikeout to walk ratio was really 2-to-1. He's had tremendous success, obviously, after that, and tremendous strikeout to walk ratios. It was about 2-to-1, and I called him in one day, and I said, look, I said, you're up to 100 pitches, you're 5 innings into a game, but look at the batting average against. Look at how hitters approach you. They struggle. They struggle against you.
Stevie Berman, the catcher, sheds the mask and runs out of room.
So the point is, throw strikes. Throw strikes, because they're not going to be able to do too much with you. And little by little, he figured it out. Next thing you know, you got 3 Cy Youngs, World Series champion, Hall of Fame pitcher, and somebody who's had almost historic strikeout to walk ratios.
He took a pot shot. He's been waiting to do that for probably 5 years.
1 out, base is empty, and a 1-2 count on Arismendi Alcantara, the second baseman. Yeah, that ball's in play. That was strikeout 2-3, the putout. And the first strikeout for Nick Robertson. He's got the build of a pitcher, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He's got the look.
Sure, right though. That 1 walk, pretty impressive. The command that he had displayed in 2019. Looking for more of that this year. Luciano takes one in the dirt.
Right or wrong, I translate a lot of that into confidence. If you've got confidence in your stuff, you're not going to walk guys unless it calls for it in a certain situation. You're going to be around that strike zone.
When he blew right by him.
I think the ball gets on hitters really quick with this delivery. As you said, Tim, big guy. But the release point's a little bit different, and it gets on you in a hurry.
When you say release point, how close to the plate do you think he is when he actually releases the baseball with that big frame of his?
Great point. He's out there a little bit. The ball's come out of his hand a little bit with less distance to travel than most. Almost like a Kenley Jansen, whose stride is so long that by the time the ball comes out of his hand, it might be 54 feet.
Impressive right there. That's some powerful stuff from right-hander Nick Robertson. We go to the 6th.
Welcome back. I'm here with Dustin May. Dustin, you know, ahead of the game, Dave Roberts talked a whole lot about the importance of live pitching. How did it feel for you to be out there just to go against a team, honestly, in a different uniform?
No, I mean, it's great. We've done a couple of live EPs, but I mean, it's always great to go out and compete against somebody where there is a winner and a loser. So it was definitely exciting and ready to get out there again.
Was there anything in specific that you were working on today?
Just being able to put the ball in the zone. Just throwing strikes, being able to land a breaking ball. I threw a couple of them tonight that were nice. Just being able to throw strikes.
You said now you had 24 pitches, 2 strikeouts, 1 hit. Just in general, what did you really think about your performance overall today?
I thought it was solid. Didn't really like the walk, but got a little herky-jerky in the motion. But just being able to clean that up and staying through. So, just, like I said, keep pounding the zone.
How do you refocus kind of like in moments like you said there when you did walk someone and you kind of, not that you hit a bump in the road, but how do you just really reset and refocus to kind of get resettled?
I could feel my lower half. It was a little delayed from my upper half, so I was just trying to tell my upper half to slow down a little bit mentally. So kind of give myself little cues with hip rotation and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel solid.
And now from here, what more does it take from you to continue to build up to prepare for season?
Just getting pitch count up. Right now I'm going to feel like I'm in a good spot body-wise and like throwing the ball. So just being able to get the endurance and stamina up with throwing innings. So just being able to get back in the game would be exciting.
Thanks so much, Dustin.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, Kirsten. Dustin. It's interesting to hear Dustin now talk about what he's thinking about when he's on the rubber, standing over the rubber, and what he's going to do with his body.
Yep. Well, that's a sign of somebody who understands what he's supposed to be doing and can take a breath and change it, kind of reset a little bit. Got a leadoff ground out, double left center, then a walk. Kind of fell out as he talked about, fell out of his rhythm, fell out of the bottom half and the top half working in sync. Got a strikeout and a fielder's choice after that. So that's effective. That's what pitchers have to do. A lot of guys, especially young pitchers, they won't take the time to think about it. They'll just keep throwing and keep getting themselves in deeper trouble. Sometimes you got to pause and take a breath and reset.
Andy Pages up at the plate with one out after Omar Estevez had grounded out to short to start the inning, facing the new pitcher, Camilo Doval. He's out of the Dominican Republic, 23-year-old right-hander who has a fastball that can run up about 100 miles an hour at times.
Again, it's going to come down to command. A couple years ago, he walked 34 in 56 innings. Obviously, you got to clean that up. High end potential. Throwing strikes would be the key to whether he makes it or whether he doesn't.
Doval's delivery has been known to be tough on right-handers. That ball comes out of his hand.
Yep.
Paez out of Cuba.
He's got quick arm action, too. I mean, the ball's going to come out of his hand quick, and it's going to get on you quick.
3-1 pitch now. And on the hands. And he'll take first base. One out walk.
Got to throw competitive pitches. It's not all about the velocity. Without the location, the velocity doesn't mean a whole lot. You've seen great Hall of Fame pitchers that have pitched. Greg Maddux probably finished pitching at 84, 85 miles an hour for probably 3 or 4 years, but he had tremendous command of his pitches. Understood the craft of pitching. Hitters' swings, they're anxious, what they're likely to do, what they've done before against them. It's all part of the thought process. But velocity is not the only thing that makes you a pitcher.
Angel Rovelo, former St. Louis Cardinal. He's got 42 games of big league experience with the Cardinals. His first year in the Dodger organization. Fouls this one off. He's from La Habana in Cuba. So you get two Cuban natives batting back-to-back in the order. Paez and Rovelo. One thing that we were talking about before the game and right at the beginning of the game, the historic stadium that they play in. It's the oldest one. I think it's got to be older than Tempe Diablo, right?
Oh, probably.
I'm sure it is, but it's the oldest one used in the Cactus League, and it's been upgraded over the years. But I know you've spent plenty of time in that little yard.
When I first went to work in baseball 40 years ago now, and, with the Cubs, we go over to play the Giants. Same footprint, same site, but really all wood. You almost looked at it and thought, you know what, this is like a tinderbox right here. And I would go see Al Rosen, the great hitter and Cleveland Indian. He was a GM, and he sat in this little wooden room that you could hear people walking above the room, the fan base. Made a lot of great changes to this stadium.
And center fielder Luis Basabe makes the catch, and there are two gone for the Dodgers in the sixth.
The whole Cactus League experience has changed. I mean, going back a long time now, you know, as I reminisce here a minute. But when I first went to the Cubs, the office was a trailer. The general manager was at a trailer, Dallas Green, my first boss. And Holcomb Park, still active in Mesa, but far different. And spring training used to have, obviously we're limited now because of the virus and attendance, but spring training was nowhere near as big as it is today. Or last year, I should say.
I mean, it used to be just that, spring training. It was to get in shape. It was to get ready for the season. Now it's a cottage industry. It's a whole separate season.
There was a time when Florida, the people that had cities and had land in Florida, were trying to take all the Arizona teams and put them all in the state of Florida. And the Cactus League had been around for a long time, but was limited. There weren't that many teams in it. A gentleman named Pat Patterson, who was a civic leader in the Phoenix area, got together with government officials and started to realize the value of having teams in Arizona. And suddenly now you've had so many teams that have moved there in the last decade or so, where you've got half and half in Florida, half in Arizona.
Devin Mann with the swing and the miss. Dodgers leave a man, and we are still deadlocked at 0. With us after the game for Access Sportsnet Dodgers, presented by your Southern California Ford dealers. You might even see Ned. Just never know. Might make a cameo every now and then. No score as we head to the bottom of the 6th, and that is Nomar, and that is a plaque that is at Scottsdale Stadium. He is in the Arizona Fall League Hall of Fame. And 2 springs ago, I was over there with Rick Monday. I actually snapped that picture. One of those things where you're walking on the concourse and it just stopped me.
Yep, I know just where that is. I saw him play in that Fall League, and I thought, oh boy, I'm glad he's in the American League.
Yeah, won 2 batting titles there. First Arizona Fall League player to do that for the Scottsdale Scorpions. And here is your first look at Alex Vesia, who came over from the Marlins in the Dylan Floro deal. Last year with Miami, 5 appearances. ERA not where he wanted it to be, but with fewer appearances, those types of things happen. And an opposite field base hit. And the ball gets away momentarily and allows the base runner to move up.
Misplay there, took his eye off the ball at the last second.
So Paez had to go off of his glove. So it will be a base hit and error. The teams combined tonight 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. 0 for 12 with men on base.
There's been base runners. Not a lot of hits, but there have been base runners.
24-year-old Alex Vesia. In the Bay Area, Hayward, California. Throws up and in.
It's be a big inning for Vesia here. In a scoreless game, leadoff man is in scoring position after hitting an error. Falling behind another young hitter.
2-0 pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike. Good pitch there from Vesia. You talk about what he's got here. Fastball, mid to upper 90s. And probably more effective pitch that he has in his portfolio is his changeup. The changeup that fades away right there. But that was hit to right field. It's going to get down for a single. Noda will come up throwing, and that'll hold the runner at third.
Got a change up in the zone.
The Giants
with
with
half.
back-to-back hits now. Jason Vosler coming up now. He's 2 for 2 with 2 doubles. The rest of the Giants are now 2 for 17 combined after these back-to-back hits here to start the bottom of the 6th. Giants threatening. That one gets away from Berman. That'll move one of the runners up. Cruzan will go down to second base. So second and third and nobody out. And the Giants in a good position to play a run or two here.
Vossler's doubles, both to the opposite field. One against a shift, the other one to left center.
Curzon at second base, Wade at third, and Vossler takes a strike. Vesia, 17th round draft pick out of Cal State East Bay, 2018.
Good pitch right there.
Yeah, that's a nice location on the fastball.
Especially pitch before was up for a strike. This one down for a strike.
The southpaw Vesia ready to go. Vossler pops this one up foul. That'll make the seats. Last night about this time we were wondering if it was going to be the end of the game or not. We were told 6. Could have gone longer. But they do agree 24 hours before the game. Both teams will agree on how to modify the innings for this early part of spring training. And again, you say, well, why do they do it this year, not before? Well, due to COVID, they do not have as many players available in camp. A lot of the non-roster guys and non-40-man roster guys are not here yet. That usually can take up those 8th and 9th innings. Oh, Vesia got it by him, and Vossler strikes out.
Like a little bit of a guess here. Vesia guessed wrong. A little bit late.
And it looks like with the delivery he's got from the left side, that fastball gets on the left-handed hitter pretty quickly.
He's got a chance between the delivery and the stuff and the changeup, especially if he's got an effective changeup.
Logan Wyatt took over at first base for Wilmer Flores. He's behind 0-1.
Lefties that can power the ball in the inner half to a right-handed hitter, if they've got a changeup that's a little bit of a fadeaway change, very effective. You think about a guy like Tom Glavine, who could run it in on you pretty good, but he also had a pitch that he could run away from a right-handed hitter. Now, as a hitter, you're looking inside or you're looking away, and you're looking different speeds. So, hitter's got too many things to think about, too many things to adjust to if he can make that work. Because you're right, it does get on a hitter quick. He can run it inside to a right-handed hitter, keep it off the barrel of the bat. He could also throw a change, get that change to go away to a right-handed hitter. You got a chance to be very, very effective.
That's our first look at him, too. Looks like he starts everything with that changeup grip. He came with it there, faded away, just off the plate.
You know, Dodgers have been terrific, too, of taking young pitchers. Look at this pitcher, just misses. Good take there, but that was very, very close. Dodgers have been great at taking young pitchers that have good stuff and good mechanics and different things, but haven't been able to put it all together. And the Dodgers find a way to have them put it together. Long list of players that they've developed like that.
Lifted into shallow center and a diving grab. Outman with another defensive gem. Not a run will come in as Wade was able to go back and tag up. And the Giants on the board first tonight, 1-0, bottom of the 6th.
Altman can play some center field, can he?
He can get over there. And the infield drawn in. There's a lot of room behind them, and Outman has covered a lot of it. So for
some
Wyatt,
good jumps.
Wyatt gets the run in. Runner at second base, 2 outs. Darren Ruff has been a strikeout victim twice. So Stevie Berman out of Santa Clara doing the catching. He's getting an opportunity now in big league camp. Austin Barnes started the game tonight. If you joined us late, it was Walker Buehler and Dustin May, each going 2 innings, allowing a hit apiece, no runs. And they both look pretty good. They covered the first 4 innings. And Barnes did a good job getting on base twice.
Nice pitch right there.
This run that has been allowed in this inning is the first Dodger run allowed from Dodger pitching since the 5th inning on Sunday in the spring training opener. Remember yesterday they blanked the Colorado Rockies 10-0. They're not allowed a run here until the bottom of the 6th. So that'd be 14 straight innings without allowing a run. So Elliott Soto at short, trying to hold the runner. And Vesia strikes out Ruff. 3 strikeouts tonight. Vesia 2 in the inning, but he gives up a run on 2 hits. And we go to the 7th. Dodgers down to the Giants 1-0. Inning 1-0. San Francisco, 1 run on 4 hits. Dodgers only 2 hits tonight. After they banged out 14 hits yesterday, scored 10 runs. So Dominic Leone will take over. It's a guy who's been around a little bit. Been with Arizona, Toronto, the Cardinals, last year with Cleveland. Also originally with Seattle. Now trying to make the Giants as he works the 7th inning. Numbers last year with Cleveland. Went with no decisions and 12 appearances. 8.38 ERA. And Elliott Soto will start things off for the Dodgers here in the 7th.
It's along that hallway all the way there.
We know the game's going 7. What we don't know is if we're going to have a bottom of the 7th or not. We'll find out. Looks like we may.
Yeah, looks like we'll have a bottom of the 7th. Maybe not.
Well, maybe. It was James Pazos, the veteran reliever, standing up out there, not throwing, but he might get a chance. A couple of pitchers that we haven't seen yet. Pazos one of them tonight, and Enny Romero also listed as a probable. Neither of the two have been able to get into the game yet. And if there would be a bottom of the 7th, it would be because the Dodgers need to get a pitcher some work, and the Giants would want to get somebody some at-bats. 1-2 pitch to Soto coming. And a bouncer to short. And quickly one out.
Soto gets down that line pretty good.
He hustles. I mean, he spent 10 years in the minor leagues before finally getting a chance at the big leagues last year with the Angels. So he plays the game right. Marco Luciano threw him out. Michael Busch. Dodger fans should keep an eye on this guy. Bangs this one to center. It slices away from the center fielder Basabe, and that's down for a hit. Busch will stretch it for a double.
First pitch of the at-bat goes right after it. Fastball, middle of the plate. Puts a good swing on it. Sees it get away from the center fielder just a little bit and figures out, hey, you know what? We're down by a run. Let's get the scoring position.
Yep, so the tying run is in scoring position. Busch, first-round pick of the Dodgers, 31st overall, 2019.
It's an honor to be a first-round pick.
Stevie Berman. First plate appearance in this one. And he'll look at that on the outside corner, knee high. That hit by Bush. The first for the Dodgers since the 4th inning when Barnes led off that inning with a single. They're now 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position as a team tonight. Berman trying to change that against Dominic Leone. 1 ball, 1 strike. So it looks like the lefty Pazos is getting up. The Dodgers are expecting to score a run and just take the guesswork out of going to the bottom of the 7th. Michael Bush will be a guy to follow through the minors.
Yep. He's trying to leave a real positive impression here, knowing that the chances Dave Roberts and the staff will see him for a while, a little bit slim.
But he's one of those players that at this stage of his career, where he is, I mean, just drafted 2019, it gives him an opportunity to allow the major league staff to get an up close and personal look at him here in the spring.
If you like your work, you always want the decision makers to see your work. And he's front and center and all the decision makers.
Pitch coming to Stevie Berman. It's in the dirt. It is blocked by Patrick Bailey, the catcher.
Leone really struggling with his command here.
Berman heads down to first. 2 on and 1 out. James Outman a chance. We've seen his defense. And he'd like to come through offensively here. He's out of Cal State Sacramento. Last year with, 2 years ago, we should say, with Great Lakes. Appeared in 119 games for the Loons. Hit 226. 19 home runs and 56 RBIs. Those 2 numbers there really open some eyes. Takes a strike. Berman at first base, Bush at second. It's nice to hear the chants of the fans, isn't it?
It is.
Even late in the evening on a Tuesday in March.
It really is.
The 1-1. This one is stroked to right field, a base hit. Bush will turn third, and he will come home to tie the game. And James Outman takes second base. Boy, what a game this young man has had tonight.
Nice job, Michael.
Excellent. You got young players out there trying to rally here. Everybody doing their job. Great piece of hitting right there by Outman. We've seen his work in the outfield. Been excellent. Yeah, Leone struggling with his command. Leaves one over the plate a little bit, trying to get it down, trying to get it below the swing. Doesn't quite get there. Outman stays on it. Dodgers got a chance to add some more right here.
Well, because that throw came into second, he'll get credit for a double.
Hustle double right there. Ran hard.
RBI double for Outman. And Ryan Noda, 0 for 1, struck out in the 5th. Playing right field, took over for Mookie Betts. And he is plunked. Noda down to first. the base is full of Dodgers with 1 out.
It's interesting, whether it's spring training or the regular season, whether it's a 7th-inning game or a 9th-inning game. Finishing off a good team at the last at bat, not easy to do. As Leon can testify right here. Really struggled with his command this inning.
Estevez looked at the slider, went outside, 1-0. Estevez 0 for 1, grounded out to short in the 6th. That one. The slider, 2-0.
It's a great spot for Estevez. You got a hitter's count, get the bases loaded in a tie game. He's got no place to put you. He's going to have to throw you a strike or give up a lead on a wall.
Came with the straight stuff and a swing and a miss. Well, fastball straight as a string, but a little high. And Estevez now with a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Omar Estevez waits. And he bounces one foul to even the count 2-2.
He's fought his way back into this at bat here.
He's one of 3 Cubans in the lineup right now for the Dodgers. Estevez hails from Matanzas. Non-roster invite again this year. Slick fielding infielder. Estevez chases a high one. Leon, the veteran, reached back and strikes out Estevez.
Gave him a break right there. Swinging the ball out of the zone would have been a 3-2 pitch coming up.
Andy Paez. A little bit late on that offering. He's from La Habana in Cuba. Last year in low A, or 2 years we should say ago, last time they had minor league baseball, 2019, he was with Ogden in Utah. And he goes to the right side. That'll be gloved and handled at first base. And the Giants avoid a late inning meltdown, but Leon does give up the tying run, and we're headed to the bottom of the 7th in Scottsdale. 1 run, 4 hits apiece as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. With Ned Colletti, I'm Tim Neverett. Kirsten Watson with us as well. As this one gets ready to finish up, here's veteran left-hander James Pazos, who was originally drafted by the Yankees out of the University of San Diego, but Arizona's no stranger to him. He's from Gilbert. And his dad was a 2-sport star at Arizona State, football and wrestling. Mom an athlete too. She played volleyball at the University of South Carolina, so a very athletic family. And here is Pazos trying to make things happen with the Dodgers. He's been around a bit, not only with the Yankees, but with Seattle. He's spent the last 2 seasons in Colorado with the Rockies. And Luis Basabe, center fielder, will be the first to face him in the bottom of the 7th. And James gets a pitch right by him.
Basabe, former White Sox.
Fastball, slider, changeup, the repertoire for Pazos. And he gets ahead 0-2. A guy in his situation, he's a non-roster invite, trying to make the big league club with a very talented roster. What does he need to do? What does he need to show?
Well, it's probably a long shot to make the big league roster out of this camp. Just tough to do with the number of talent, the number of pitchers that they have. What I would encourage him is, you know what, throw well, show command, be able to get hitters out, get to the minor leagues or the alternate camp for a while and continue to do it. And you don't know what the season's going to bring.
Ooh, the good pitch right there on the inside edge.
Right there. You never know what a season's going to bring. and you can't predict it. Every day it changes a little bit. If you can pitch and you're left-handed, you're always going to have an extra chance, perhaps. Got a little bit of a wrap to that delivery as you watch where he drops his left hand at the bottom of the delivery. A little bit of a wrap. You don't see a lot of guys do it. Rick Sutcliffe, former Dodger pitcher, and a great one for a lot of organizations, used to have the same thing.
Patrick Bailey, the catcher for the Giants, takes ball 1.
But you never know where your opportunities are going to show up, and so you always have to be prepared. Look at Max Muncy, sitting on the couch.
It doesn't happen often for a guy like Muncy, but it can happen.
Yes.
1-1 to Bailey.
And as Jerry Hairston was talking in the pregame show tonight, there's 29 other teams watching and scouting and paying attention. If it's not with this organization and he pitches well, somebody else may give him a chance. Again, being left-handed is a huge advantage.
And every opportunity in spring, it's an audition.
Yep.
2-2.
Finish him.
Tried for that outside corner. Nehai just missed.
Good pitch, though. If you got confidence in your command, you run a count to 3-2. It's a good pitch to make.
Payoff pitch from James Pazos to Patrick Bailey. And walked it. So a second walk tonight issued by Dodger pitching. Dustin May issued one earlier, but they've got 8 strikeouts against 2 walks tonight as a staff. Arizmendi Alcantara started the game at second base and remains in. He's 0 for 2. Grounded to third and then struck out swinging in the 5th. James Pazos kicks and fires and a swing and a miss by Alcantara. Especially early in spring where the lineups are so different from night to night, from game to game. The games are going to be just that much different. You know, yesterday 10 runs, 14 hits. Tonight,
Yep.
they had 2 hits in the first 6 innings. Then they had 2 hits to match that in the 7th inning alone. 4 hits total in the game.
Well, people keep track of score and things like that in spring training, but for me, it's really every at bat, every time a pitcher faces a hitter, it's another chapter, and so you're learning right now about different players. The score is a little bit important, but it's really how they execute in different situations.
Arizmendi, Alcantara. And there's Enny Romero. Will we see him tonight, other than throwing in the bullpen? There you go. Appeal down to first. He's rung up on strikes.
Great pitch right there. Impossible to hit for a right-handed hitter. You throw it there. By the time the hitter starts his swing, that ball is leaving the strike zone and going behind your back foot. It's a big league pitch right there.
And that's going to be it. So we will see Enny Romero to finish this inning. Dave Roberts telling Pazos he did a good job. So Pazos leaves, walks a man, but strikes out 2, and Enny Romero will come in to try to finish up the bottom of the 7th inning in a 1-1 game. 1-1, bottom of the 7th, 2 men out. Enny Romero, who spent last season in Japan with the Chunichi Dragons, whose uniforms are remarkably similar to the Dodgers. He has been around in the big leagues. Royals, Pirates, Nationals, Tampa Bay. His first pitch swung on, fouled back. Came up with Tampa Bay. Enny Romero, a non-roster invite. Again, in the same situation as James Pazos.
Yep.
Shortstop Marco Luciano finds himself in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes.
A lot of times when agents are looking for places for their players to play near the end of an offseason, they understand the depth of an organization. They know where the opportunities are. But they also want to get their player in front of other teams. And so they'll take an opportunity that may look like a long shot and hope if it doesn't happen where he signs, that he can make it happen some other place. You're always on audition. You're always being scouted.
Heavy fastball for Romero. Sometimes he'll get it in the high 90s, maybe even touch triple digits with a 4-seamer. Luciano fouls it off and hangs in there 0-2. Romero trying to make quick work out of him. Romero throws a good cutter too. And kind of a hard curveball, not necessarily a soft curve you might see from a lefty. It's got some velocity to it. And he'll also run a changeup in there. There you go. Foul tip. And that's it. So Enny Romero hits the final out of the 7th inning.
No shootout?
No shootout in this sport. Home run derby, maybe? Well, Justin Turner wanted that last year. That's going to do it. And for the 2nd day in a row, the Giants tie. They tied the Rangers 1-1 yesterday. And they come up with a 1-1 tie with the Dodgers here tonight. So the Dodgers go to 2-0-1 in Cactus League play. Well, Walker Buehler had a good debut tonight. Dustin May pitched well also. And the work is in for the night for the Dodgers. So that's going to do it from Scottsdale. Dodgers won, Giants won. We'll be with you tomorrow when the Dodgers face the Reds right here on SNLA, starting at 4:30 p.m. Now stay tuned for Access Sportsnet Dodgers, presented by your Southern California Ford dealers.